Hey everyone, Joey here. In this video I'm going to show you how I ballast my track and apply ground cover on my HO-Scale switching layout. Now I like to use products from Arizona Rock and Mineral, and this is HO-Scale ballast in Pennsylvania Gray and also some N-Scale ballast in Pennsylvania Gray. This I'm going to be using for the ground cover. So let's check it out. I got the HO-Scale ballast for the actual ballast, and the N-Scale will be used for the ground cover. And I did get a couple colors for some subtle highlights. And here I'm just using a small strainer to apply the N-Scale ballast for the ground cover. And I would go over in various spots with the different colors just to show those different highlights. It's good to vary it up, adds a little bit of visual interest. And then I just take a brush and I brush it off of the tracks and the rail ties because I don't really want this to be accidentally glued down to the tracks. I'm going to reserve that for the HO-Scale ballast. Next I take a small mister bottle and I apply a fine spray of isopropyl alcohol across all of the ballast, and then using a pipette I put on a 3-to-1 water to glue mixture. I use Mod Podge matte, seems to work well for me, and then I let that set up overnight before I proceed any further. And here you can see all the ground cover is laid and is setting. Next I remove the ground throws so I didn't get any glue in those. I only glued down the shim that came with it to the piece of styrene underneath so I could easily take those off, especially for purposes like this. Starting with the turnouts, I carefully apply some ballast in between the rail ties underneath the switch points. I want to make sure that I'm really careful at this point, and periodically I do kind of flip the switch points back and forth just to make sure there's nothing stuck there and that they're always free moving. Using a toothpick, I push the ballast underneath the sections of the turnout that I didn't get the ballast in initially. I'm very careful not to push it up against the switch points there. And I just continue on doing this process. Very slow, very methodical, but I want to make sure that of all the track that is done, the turnouts are done the best. And here you can see I'm just kind of raking the toothpick along the inside of the rails so that no ballast gets stuck there and causes derailments later on. And then I just go along the side of the rails and apply the ballast, and just using my finger I just kind of push it into in between the rail ties there just to give it a nice beveled look. And then it's on to applying more isopropyl alcohol very carefully. And again, I always check the switch points periodically to make sure everything is free flowing, and just applying, making sure I get all of the ballast nice and wet. And then very carefully, even more carefully, applying the scenic glue in between all of the rail ties for the turnouts. And I do like to go ahead and carefully, using a toothpick, remove some of the ballast from the ties before the glue sets up. I know you can kind of pick them off afterwards, but I like to take that step before the glue is actually set. And then of course periodically checking the switch points. And for the rest of the tracks it's pretty much the same procedure, except I'm not as methodical about the application process of the ballast as I am with the turnouts, for obvious reasons. And here I'm just applying the ballast and just using my finger to push it between the rail ties along the center and along the sides as well. The one thing I really do like about this particular product is that when you're pushing the ballast in between the rail ties, it's less affected by static electricity than with some of the other products. So it's not popping around on top of the layout as you're applying it. Again, I'm just using a toothpick to rake out any stray ballast from the inside of the rails so I prevent any future derailments. And then applying some isopropyl alcohol to break the surface tension and make the glue flow in a lot easier afterwards. And here I'm just applying more of the scenic cement that I mixed up, making sure that I flood all of the areas where the ballast is, including the sections outside of the rail ties where I kind of blend it into the rest of the scenery. And again, I'm just taking a toothpick and removing any stray ballast from the top of the ties before the glue sets. And now that everything is glued down, I just let it set up overnight and the ballasting is complete. Alright, so I let the glue set up overnight, and now it's as hard as a rock. I really like this type of gravel from Arizona Rock and Mineral, mostly because the prototypical type colors that they offer for various regions in North America. And since I'm modeling a North American railroad, I think it fits the bill. So I hope you found this informational, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you enjoy these and you want to see more, consider subscribing so you don't miss out. And as always, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you next time.